My beloved child, do not let shame convince you to leave before you hear me. Yes, you made a mistake, but that is not the end of the sentence I have written over your life. Stay with me for a moment. Do not turn away because you think you already know what I am going to say. I am not speaking to condemn you. I am calling you because I refuse to let one failure define the future I created for you. You did not arrive at this message by chance. I saw the moment your thumb paused. I knew the questions that have been echoing through your heart. I know the memories that return when everything becomes quiet. I know the words you wish you could take back, the choices you wish you could undo, and the moments that still make you lower your head when no one else is looking. You have replayed them again and again, wondering if you crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed, wondering if I have grown tired of reaching for you. But listen carefully, my child, because what your fear hath been whispering to you is not the truth. You have been carrying a burden I never asked you to carry. You have been punishing yourself long after I began calling you closer. You smile in front of people while secretly questioning whether you still belong to me. You pray, but part of you wonders if I am still listening. You hope, but another part of you expects disappointment because you believe your mistake has become stronger than my mercy. Do not believe that lie for another moment. If you leave now, you may continue carrying guilt that I never intended for you to keep. You may walk away believing your story is over when I have only begun writing the next chapter. But if you remain with me, if you allow my voice to become louder than your regret, you will discover that I have been working even in the places where you thought everything fell apart. What looks like the end to you has become the place where my grace is preparing to meet you. I have watched every tear you tried to hide. I have heard every prayer you thought never would have it. I was there on the day you stumbled, and I am here now, not standing against you, but standing beside you. I have not forgotten my promises over your life, and I have not withdrawn my love because of one painful decision. So do not let the title of your past become the title of your future. Yes, you made a mistake, but I am about to show you why your failure does not have the final word. Stay with me, open your heart completely, and let me reveal what I have been waiting to tell you all along. My child, I know how heavy your heart had been ever since that moment happened. You keep returning to it in your mind even when you try not to. Sometimes it comes back quietly when you are alone, and sometimes it crashes into your thoughts without warning. You replay what you said, what you chose, what you ignored, or what you failed to do. I see the way you carry it with you through your days like an invisible weight resting on your shoulders. Other people may not notice it when they look at you, but I do. I know how deeply it affected you because I was there the entire time. I saw the confusion in your heart before the mistake was ever made. I saw the exhaustion you were trying to hide. I saw the loneliness, the pressure, the fear, and the part of you that simply wanted relief from everything you had been carrying for so long. You have spent so much time believing that one wrong decision changed how I see you. That is what hurts you most. Deep inside, you became afraid that you disappointed me beyond repair. You started talking to yourself differently after that moment. You became colder toward your own heart. You stopped seeing yourself with compassion. Instead of bringing your pain to me honestly, you began hiding inside shame. I need you to understand something clearly. Your mistake did not surprise me. I knew every weakness you would wrestle with long before you were born, and I still chose to love you completely. I never built my relationship with you around the expectation that you would never fail. If perfection were required for closeness with me, no human being would ever experience my presence. What happened matters. Yes. I am not telling you to pretend it was harmless. Some choices leave consequences, and some wounds take time to heal. But your failure is not greater than my mercy. You keep measuring your future by your worst moment, and that is why your spirit feels trapped. You think because you fell once, everything good I planned for your life disappeared with it. That is not how I work. I have restored people who thought they ruined everything. I have rebuilt lives that looked impossible to repair. I have taken broken hearts, confused minds, and damaged stories, and I have still brought beauty out of them. What I want from you now is honesty, not hiding. Stop exhausting yourself trying to appear strong while your soul quietly suffers underneath. Come closer to me with the truth of what you feel. Tell me about the guilt. Tell me about the regret. Tell me about the anger you carry toward yourself. I already know it all, but your healing begins when you stop pretending you are beyond help. You do not need to clean yourself up before coming back to me. You only need to stop running from my voice. I can see how tired you are from punishing yourself every day. Some nights you cannot even rest properly because your mind keeps reopening the same wound. You wonder whether you deserve peace again. You wonder whether joy will ever feel natural again. Listen to me carefully, my child. You are not abandoned because you made a mistake. I am still here beside you, even in this season where you feel disappointed in yourself. I have not walked away from your life. I am still guiding you, still speaking to you, still calling you forward little by little. And if you let me, I will teach you how to heal without living the rest of your life chained to one painful chapter. My child, there is something I need you to notice about your heart lately. You have been speaking to yourself with a harshness that I never asked from you. You wake up carrying yesterday like a chain wrapped around your spirit. And even during moments when life becomes quiet, your mind returns to old memories as though you owe suffering some permanent place inside you. I see the way you revisit conversations that ended badly. I hear the silent accusations you throw at yourself when nobody else is around. You tell yourself you should have known better. You convince yourself that one different decision could have changed everything. Then you sit in the darkness of those thoughts until your peace disappears again. Come closer to me for a moment and stop resisting my voice. Listen carefully because you have misunderstood something important about forgiveness. When I forgive you, I do not hold your failure over your head waiting for another chance to shame you. I do not keep reopening healed wounds just to remind you how weak you once were. Yet you keep doing that to yourself almost every day. You apologize to me, but then you continue acting as your own judge, your own jailer, and your own enemy. That is not the freedom I want for you. You have allowed regret to become louder than my truth. I watch you hesitate before praying because part of you feels embarrassed to stand before me honestly. Sometimes you avoid quiet moments with me because you are afraid of what you think I feel toward you. But my child, if you could see my heart clearly, you would understand that I am not waiting to push you away. I am calling you nearer while you are still wounded. Bring me the broken thoughts you hide from everyone else. Stop cleaning up your emotions before speaking to me. Stop pretending you are stronger than you feel. Let your walls fall. Invite me into the places inside you that still ache when nobody is watching. There are people who will remember your mistakes longer than they remember your kindness. That pain has affected you deeply. Some of the words spoken over your life left scars that still sting when you think about them. But human judgment does not define your future. I know the full story of your life, not just one chapter. I know the battles happening underneath your choices. I know the moments where exhaustion clouded your thinking and where fear pushed you into decisions you later regretted. None of that made me stop loving you. Now breathe slowly and let this truth settle inside your heart. You are not required to spend the rest of your life repaying a debt that my mercy already covered. Release the need to punish yourself constantly. Open your hands and surrender that burden to me. Healing cannot grow where shame is fed every day. Walk with me instead. Allow me to teach you how to live without chains around your soul. There is still goodness ahead of you, and I do not want you arriving there carrying old guilt like heavy luggage you were never meant to drag forever. My child, I know there are moments when you quietly wonder whether your life still has meaning after everything that happened. You look at your mistakes, and then you look at the dreams you once carried inside your heart, and somewhere along the way you began believing those dreams no longer belonged to you. You became convinced that purpose is only for people who never fall apart, never lose direction, and never make painful decisions. That belief has exhausted your spirit more than you realize because it keeps you trapped between regret and hopelessness. I want you to stop for a moment and hear me clearly. Your failure did not erase the calling I placed on your life. You are still looking at yourself through the lens of one painful season while I am looking at the entire road ahead of you. I see the parts of your future you cannot imagine yet. I see the wisdom growing inside you through experiences you wish never happened. I see compassion forming in you because you now understand pain differently than before. The version of you that exists after brokenness often carries a depth that comfort alone could never create. That does not mean I wanted you to suffer endlessly. It means I know how to bring life even out of wounded places. I need you to stop speaking over your future as though everything valuable has already been lost. Be careful with the words you repeat to yourself because they slowly shape the atmosphere inside your heart. When you constantly say, "I ruined everything," your spirit begins to believe there is no reason to rise again. But I am telling you now, stand up from that thinking. Open the curtains in your soul and let hope enter again. Stop treating your life like a finished story when I am still writing chapters you have not seen. There were moments when doors closed after your mistake, and I know that hurt you deeply. The relationships changed. Some opportunities disappeared. Some parts of your life became unfamiliar overnight. But not every closed door is proof that I abandon your future. Sometimes I remove certain paths because they cannot carry where I am ultimately leading you. Trust me enough to believe that I can still build something beautiful even after loss. Now take a breath and invite me back into the areas where disappointment hardened you. Let me restore your confidence slowly instead of forcing yourself to feel strong overnight. Speak to me honestly when fear rises again. Tell me where you still feel unworthy. Tell me where your faith feels weak. I would rather hear your honest struggle than watch you suffer silently behind a mask of false peace. You are not disqualified because you stumbled. Some of the people who changed the world most deeply first walked through seasons where they thought their story was over. Yet I still used them. I still guided them. I still rebuilt them. And I am not finished with you either, my child. My child, I have watched you do something that quietly hurts your heart every single time. Whenever you fall into weakness or make a choice you regret, your first instinct is often to pull away from me instead of moving closer. You become distant in your prayers. You avoid stillness because silence makes you think about what happened. You fill your mind with distractions so you do not have to face the ache living underneath your smile. I understand why you do it. Shame has a way of convincing you that hiding feels safer than honesty. But listen to me carefully now. Running from me will never heal the place inside you that only my presence can restore. Come sit with me for a moment instead of fighting your thoughts alone. Stop trying to carry your pain like a secret burden hidden beneath your daily routines. I already know where your heart feels bruised. I know the conversations replaying in your mind at night. I know the moments where regret suddenly rises in your chest like a wave you cannot control. I see the way your thoughts spiral when the room becomes quiet and there is nothing left to distract you from yourself. You do not need to impress me with strength you no longer have. Bring me your tiredness exactly as it is. There was a time when you felt close to me without overthinking everything. Your heart felt softer then. You spoke openly with me. You trusted my voice more easily. But after certain mistakes, fear entered your spirit and changed the way you saw yourself. Now you hesitate before approaching me because part of you secretly believes disappointment made you less lovable. My child, if you only knew how many people walk away from healing simply because they are too ashamed to come close while wounded. Do not let that become your story. Open the door of your heart again. Invite me into the places you keep locked away. Stop cleaning your emotions before bringing them to me. Speak honestly. Tell me where you feel angry, confused, embarrassed, or numb. I am not uncomfortable with your honesty. I would rather sit with your truth than watch you suffer behind carefully constructed silence. Some of your deepest healing will begin the moment you stop performing and start surrendering. You have believed the lie that distance protects you, but distance is exactly what keeps your wounds from healing properly. Think about a child who falls and hides instead of letting a loving father help clean the injury. The pain stays longer because fear prevented comfort from entering the situation. That is what shame has been doing inside you. It keeps whispering that isolation is safer, even while your soul grows weaker carrying everything alone. So stop running now. Slow your thoughts. Breathe deeply and let my presence reach you again. Sit with me in the middle of your unfinished healing. Let me remind you that your worst moments did not cancel my desire to walk closely with you. I am still here, my child. I have not stepped away from your life. Come nearer instead of farther, and allow my peace to meet you where your strength finally ends. My child, as you come back into my presence instead of hiding in shame, remember this. I am also calling you to help bring wandering hearts back home to me. There are souls listening right now who feel abandoned, exhausted, and too broken to pray. And through this message, I am reaching for them like a shepherd carrying lost sheep through the night. Every seed you sow through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes oil for this lamp to keep burning across the nations. Did I not say, give, and it shall be given unto you? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am breathing life into that promise even now for those who obey my voice. Do not treat this moment casually, because your generosity is becoming a river carrying healing into homes filled with silent pain. I see every sacrifice made with a willing heart, and I will multiply peace, provision, protection, and favor back into your life like rain falling on dry ground. So obey the stirring in your spirit now. Give through super thanks, become a member, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, and help my word reach the hearts that are still hiding from my love. My child, you have become skilled at hiding your pain from other people. You know how to smile at the right moments, answer questions carefully, and carry on conversations while something inside you quietly struggles for air. Most people around you only see the version of you that keeps functioning. They do not see how exhausted your inner world has become. They do not hear the thoughts that visit you late at night or feel the emotional weight you carry into every new day. But I see all of it clearly, and I need you to stop pretending you are fine when your heart is asking for help. There is a difference between being strong and being emotionally unavailable to yourself. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that survival meant silence. You learned how to suppress sadness quickly, how to bury disappointment beneath busyness, and how to avoid difficult emotions before they became too uncomfortable. Yet hidden pain does not disappear simply because you ignore it. It grows quietly underneath the surface until even small moments begin to feel heavy. That is part of why your spirit feels tired so often lately. Come closer and listen carefully because I want to show you another way to live. Stop forcing yourself to carry every burden without support. Stop telling yourself you should already be over certain things. Healing rarely moves in straight lines. and some wounds need gentleness instead of pressure. Invite me into the emotional places you have avoided. Speak honestly about what still hurts. Let the tears come if they need to. There is no shame in being honest about your struggle. Even storms release rain before the skies become clear again. You compare yourself to other people too often without knowing the battles they quietly carry themselves. That comparison has made you feel weak simply because your healing process has taken longer than expected. But growth inside the soul is not measured like a race. Some hearts recover slowly because they were deeply wounded. I understand your pace better than anyone else ever could. I know where trust was broken. I know where fear entered your thinking. I know the exact moments that changed how you began seeing yourself. Right now, I want you to stop rehearsing strength and start practicing honesty. Sit with me without pretending. Tell me what you are afraid of. Tell me what still embarrasses you. Tell me where you feel emotionally stuck. Do not edit your heart before bringing it to me. I am not asking for polished words. I am asking for openness. There are places inside you that cannot heal while hidden behind constant performance. Light must enter the wound before restoration can fully begin. That is why I keep inviting you into deeper honesty with me. Not to expose you, but to free you. Not to shame you, but to restore peace where pressure has lived too long. You do not have to wake up tomorrow carrying every emotional burden by yourself again. Release some of that weight into my hands. Let me walk with you through the slow and sacred process of becoming whole again. My child, there are people who looked at your mistake and immediately formed conclusions about you. They saw one moment, one decision, one failure, and they built an entire picture of your character around it. That wounded you more deeply than you admit. Part of your pain did not come only from what happened, but from feeling misunderstood afterward. You tried to explain yourself in your own mind so many times. You wished someone could see beyond the surface and understand what was happening inside you before everything fell apart. I need you to hear this clearly now. I saw the deeper struggle long before the mistake ever appeared outwardly. I saw how emotionally drained you had become. I saw the silent pressure building inside your thoughts while you kept telling everyone you were fine. I watched you carry disappointments you never processed properly. I watched loneliness settle into your heart slowly, almost like rain soaking through clothing one layer at a time until you suddenly realized how cold you felt inside. By the time certain choices happened, your spirit was already tired in ways you did not know how to describe. Come sit with me honestly now and stop reducing your entire identity to one painful decision. I am not excusing what hurt you or others. I am asking you to understand yourself with truth instead of cruelty. There is a difference between recognizing failure and condemning your entire existence because of it. You have been treating yourself like someone unworthy of compassion, while I have been looking at you with understanding this entire time. You keep asking yourself questions that have no peaceful ending. Why did I do that? Why didn't I stop myself? How did I become this version of me? Those thoughts circle your mind like restless waves hitting the shore over and over again. But I want you to stop chasing punishment through endless overthinking. Instead, invite me into the deeper reasons behind your pain. Let me show you the emotional cracks that formed quietly long before the visible breaking point arrived. There were needs inside your heart you ignored for too long. There were wounds you covered with distractions instead of healing properly. There were moments when your spirit tried to warn you that you were reaching emotional exhaustion, but you kept pushing yourself forward anyway. My child, even machines begin to fail when pressure builds without rest. How much more does the human heart need care, honesty, and renewal? So stop standing against yourself like an enemy. Sit down beside me and breathe for a moment. Let my voice soften the harshness inside your thinking, Open your hands and release the version of yourself that believes being understood means being excused. I already understand you fully, and still I am guiding you toward growth. That is what love does. Now let me help you rebuild from the inside instead of merely hiding symptoms on the outside. Allow me to touch the deeper places where fear, loneliness, disappointment, and exhaustion quietly shaped your decisions. Healing becomes possible when truth and grace finally meet in the same place. My child, I need you to pay attention to the way you speak to yourself when nobody else is listening. There is a voice inside your thoughts that has become painfully familiar to you. Sometimes it sounds accusing. Sometimes it sounds hopeless. Sometimes it whispers that you ruined your future, disappointed everyone, and lost the right to feel peace again. You have listened to that voice for so long that you started confusing it with truth. But I want you to stop for a moment and recognize something important. Not every voice inside your mind deserves your trust. You have allowed condemnation to settle into your heart like smoke filling a closed room. At first it only appeared during moments of regret. Then slowly it became part of your everyday thinking. Now even simple moments feel heavy because criticism follows you everywhere. You struggle to enjoy peaceful days because part of you feels guilty for smiling again. You hesitate to believe good things can still happen for you because shame keeps standing at the door of your thoughts demanding attention. Come closer to me now and let me separate truth from accusation inside your spirit. I will correct you when needed, but correction and condemnation are not the same thing. Correction leads you toward healing. Condemnation traps you inside hopelessness. One restores, the other suffocates. Learn the difference, my child, because your emotional life depends on it. Think carefully about the condition of your heart lately. You have been carrying conversations in your mind that I never asked you to carry. You replay failures repeatedly as though emotional punishment will somehow redeem the past. But endless self-hatred has never healed anyone. It only keeps wounds open longer. I do not want you chained to thoughts that drain life from your spirit day after day. Right now, I want you to pause and invite my voice into your thinking again. Sit quietly with me. Take a slow breath and stop fighting yourself for a moment. Let me show you how deeply loved you still are, even in your imperfect state. You are not disqualified from grace because you are struggling emotionally. You are not abandoned because your mind feels tired. I know how overwhelming life has felt lately, especially when your thoughts become loud at night and silence suddenly feels uncomfortable. Do not keep feeding the voice that tears you down while ignoring the voice trying to restore you. Open your heart and let truth enter again. Remind yourself that one mistake did not transform you into someone beyond redemption. Your life is more complex, more valuable, and more redeemable than your shame wants you to believe. Now stand up slowly from the emotional prison you have been living in. Stop agreeing with every cruel thought that enters your mind. Bring those thoughts to me instead. Let me teach you how to think with compassion, wisdom, and honesty again. You do not need to spend another year trapped beneath the weight of constant condemnation. I am calling you into freedom, my child, and I want you to walk toward it with me. My child, one of the quiet fears living inside your heart right now is the belief that I look at you differently after what happened. You wonder if my patience has grown thin with you. You wonder if I became distant because you failed in an area where you promised yourself you would do better. Sometimes you pray while secretly expecting silence in return. Sometimes you hold back emotionally because part of you thinks you no longer deserve closeness with me. I need you to stop carrying that fear alone and listen carefully to what I am saying to you now. I do not love you with the fragile kind of love humans often give each other. So much of the love you experienced in life depended on performance. People celebrated you when you succeeded and withdrew from you when you struggled. Some only stayed close while you appeared strong, useful, confident, or emotionally easy to be around. That kind of conditional affection shaped the way you now expect me to respond to your weakness. But my heart toward you does not collapse every time you stumble. Come closer and let your guard down for a moment. Stop bracing yourself for rejection every time you think about your mistakes. Sit quietly with me and allow yourself to be fully seen without immediately assuming judgment will follow. I already know every detail of your story, including the parts you still feel embarrassed to remember. Yet here I am, still speaking to you, still guiding you, still calling your heart forward instead of shutting the door on you. You keep treating your failure like it introduced me to a version of you I had never seen before. My child, I understood your weaknesses long before you did. I knew the areas where fear would affect your thinking. I knew the places where loneliness would tempt you to seek comfort in the wrong direction. I knew the emotional wounds you would carry from earlier seasons of your life. None of those things caught me by surprise. That does not mean your choices carry no consequences. It means your struggles never had the power to cancel my compassion. Right now, I want you to stop replaying the thought that you permanently disappointed me. Release it. Open your hands emotionally and let that fear fall away. Invite my peace into the place where anxiety hath been speaking too loudly. You do not need to earn your way back into my presence through endless self-punishment. I am already near you. There is something deeply exhausting about constantly feeling like you must prove yourself worthy of love again after every mistake. I never asked you to live that way. Real healing begins when you trust that my love remains steady even while your growth is unfinished. That trust changes the atmosphere inside your heart. It softens the panic. It quiets the shame. It gives you room to breathe again. So stop assuming distance where I am offering closeness. Stop hiding behind fear when I am inviting honesty. Let me love you in this imperfect season instead of waiting until you feel more acceptable. I am not walking away from you, my child. Stay near me and allow your heart to rest. My child, the same mercy I am pouring over your life right now is the mercy I desire to release into countless other wounded hearts through this message. There are people trapped in the lie that they are forever disqualified, forever rejected, forever too far gone, and I am using this very word to break chains of shame off their souls. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not simply giving money. You are placing fresh oil into the hands of those carrying my fire into dark places. Remember my words, blessed is the one who trusts in me, whose confidence is in the Lord. They shall be like a tree planted by waters. I am watching those who give with faith, and I will establish them like rooted trees untouched by drought. This is not coincidence. This is a divine invitation to participate in a harvest of healing and restoration before many hearts lose hope completely. Do not ignore the pull you feel inside your spirit right now, because I am the one calling you closer into this work. Act immediately. Send your super thanks. Join the membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, and help my voice reach the broken who still believe they are unloved. My child, I know how easy it has become for you to define your entire story by one painful season. You look at certain memories and suddenly everything else about your life feels smaller. One mistake starts speaking louder than years of growth. One failure begins overshadowing every good thing still living inside you. That is what shame does when you leave it unchecked for too long. It narrows your vision until all you can see is the chapter where everything seemed to fall apart. But I want you to lift your eyes now. Stop staring only at the ruins, and let me show you the road still ahead of you. Your life did not end in the moment you failed. Your future did not collapse forever because one season became messy. Some chapters in your story carry pain, confusion, regret, and consequences. That is true. Yet other chapters still wait unwritten, untouched, and full of possibilities you cannot yet imagine. Do not close the book on yourself while I am still writing. Come walk with me slowly through this healing process instead of rushing toward hopeless conclusions. Sit beside me and breathe for a moment. Let your mind become quiet enough to hear my voice above the noise of regret. You have spent too much time forecasting disaster over your own future. You assume certain blessings are no longer meant for you. You hesitate to dream again because disappointment once wounded you deeply. But wounded hope can heal when it is placed back into my hands. I need you to stop introducing yourself to your own thoughts as the person who ruined everything. That identity is crushing your spirit more than you realize. You are not only the worst thing you ever did. You are also the lessons learned afterward, the wisdom growing through pain, the compassion formed through suffering, and the resilience that kept you alive through difficult nights. Your story is more layered than your shame allows you to see. Think about how many people in this world almost gave up on themselves too early. They assumed failure meant finality. They believed one storm defined the rest of their lives. Yet healing slowly rebuilt what pain tried to destroy. Broken marriages found restoration. Lost confidence returned gradually. Purpose awakened again after seasons of emptiness. Hearts once drowning in guilt eventually learned how to breathe freely again. Do not decide your ending while I am still working behind the scenes. And now release the future you built entirely out of fear. Stop expecting permanent darkness because one chapter became painful. Invite me into your imagination again. Let me teach you how to hope carefully instead of living emotionally shut down. Open the windows of your soul and allow fresh air into the places that became heavy with regret. Your story is not finished, my child. There are still beautiful moments waiting ahead of you. There are still people you will help, lessons you will carry, and joy you have not experienced yet. Walk forward with me instead of staying emotionally trapped inside yesterday. My child, one of the deepest traps you have fallen into is the belief that you must somehow repair yourself before returning fully to me. You keep thinking you need more discipline, more emotional control, more spiritual strength, or more time before you can honestly approach me again. So you delay closeness while quietly hoping you will eventually become someone easier to love. But every day you wait, your heart grows more tired carrying burdens you were never meant to carry alone. Come sit with me now exactly as you are. Do not clean up your emotions first. Do not rehearse perfect words in your mind before speaking to me. Bring me the version of you that still feels confused. Bring me the part of you that still feels embarrassed. Bring me the restless thoughts, the hidden fears, the disappointment, and the emotional exhaustion. I already see all of it clearly, and I am still inviting you closer. You learn from people that acceptance often comes after performance. Some only celebrated you when you succeeded. Some became distant when you struggled. Others treated your weakness like an inconvenience they did not want to deal with. Those experiences quietly shaped the way you now approach me. You assume I also become impatient when you fail repeatedly. You think I grow cold toward your unfinished healing. My child, if my love depended on your perfection, you would spend your entire life terrified of being honest. Listen carefully and let this truth settle deep into your spirit. I never asked you to save yourself before coming back to me. I asked you to return. That is different. A wounded person does not heal by staying away from the physician. A thirsty soul does not recover by avoiding living water. Yet you have been standing at a distance from the very peace your heart desperately needs. Right now, stop making agreements with the lie that says you are too messy for my presence. Open your heart fully and invite me into the places you keep trying to hide. Sit quietly with me instead of running toward distractions every time your emotions become uncomfortable. Let my peace enter slowly. Healing often begins softly before it becomes visible. You have spent so much energy trying to appear emotionally stable while secretly feeling fragile inside. I see how exhausting that has become for you. There are moments when your smile hides sadness so deep you barely recognize yourself anymore. There are nights when you lie awake replaying your failures while wondering if your future still holds anything beautiful. Yet here I am, still reaching for you with gentleness instead of rejection. So stop waiting until you feel worthy enough to come close again. You will waste years chasing a version of yourself that was never required for my love. Come now. Bring your unfinished healing. Bring your weary soul. Bring your fears into the light instead of letting them grow in silence. I am not asking for a flawless heart. I am asking for an honest one. Let me meet you here instead of watching you suffer alone while pretending you are beyond help. My child, I know there are moments when your suffering feels random to you. You look at your mistakes, your heartbreaks, your disappointments, and your unanswered questions, and part of you wonders whether any of it could possibly lead to something meaningful. Sometimes the pain feels so heavy that you struggle to imagine purpose existing anywhere inside it. I understand that feeling more than you realize. There are wounds you carry that still confuse you. There are losses that changed something inside your heart permanently. There are memories that return suddenly and leave your spirit aching again even when you thought you were healing. Come closer and let me speak gently into those places now. Do not rush away from this moment. Sit quietly with me and breathe slowly for a minute. I want you to stop seeing your life only through the lens of what was lost. Pain changes people, yes, but it also reveals things hidden deep within the soul. Some of the compassion you now carry came from surviving seasons you never wanted to walk through. Some of your wisdom was formed in nights where you felt completely broken. Some of your gentleness toward hurting people exists because you now understand what silent suffering feels like. You keep asking why certain things happened the way they did. I know you wish some chapters could be erased entirely. Yet even now, while your understanding remains incomplete, I am still working within places that seem ruined to you. A seed buried beneath dark soil can look forgotten from the surface, but a hidden growth still happens underneath long before anything becomes visible. In the same way, there are things developing inside your spirit right now that you cannot fully see yet. Do not waste your energy trying to force immediate answers from every painful experience. Some understanding arrives slowly. Some healing unfolds quietly over time. Trust me enough to believe that your suffering is not meaningless simply because you cannot explain it yet. Invite me into your confusion instead of fighting through it alone. Speak honestly with me when grief rises unexpectedly. Tell me where your heart still feels angry, weary, or afraid. I am not offended by your emotional honesty. There are people you will comfort one day because you personally understand what deep disappointment feels like. There are conversations ahead where your scars will speak more gently than polished words ever could. I can use healed pain to bring light into someone else's darkness. That does not mean I enjoy seeing you hurt. It means I know how to bring beauty from broken places instead of wasting them. So stop viewing yourself as damaged beyond purpose. Stop assuming your pain disqualified you from living meaningfully again. Open your heart and allow me to reshape what suffering tried to steal from you. Your story is still unfolding, my child, and I am able to bring restoration even from chapters that once looked hopeless. My child, one reason your heart has felt so restless lately is because you keep measuring your healing against the lives of other people. You look around and wonder why others seem stronger, happier, calmer, or more stable while you still wrestle with memories that reopen old wounds inside you. Sometimes you scroll through smiling faces and polished lives, and suddenly your own progress feels small. You begin questioning yourself. You ask why certain emotions still affect you. You wonder whether you are failing because your healing has taken longer than you expected. Come closer and let me quiet that pressure inside you. Sit with me for a moment without comparing yourself to anyone else. You do not know the hidden battles people carry behind closed doors. Some smiles conceal sorrow. Some confident voices hide fear. Some people appear peaceful simply because they learned how to disguise pain well. Do not build your identity around appearances that reveal only fragments of someone's story. You have walked through experiences that shaped your heart deeply. Certain disappointments cut into your trust. Certain losses changed how safe the world felt to you. Some wounds formed slowly over years, like cracks spreading through glass one line at a time until finally everything felt fragile. Healing from those things is not weakness. It is sacred work happening beneath the surface of your life. Right now, stop demanding instant recovery from yourself. Stop speaking harshly to your soul every time sadness returns unexpectedly. Invite me into those moments instead of immediately judging yourself. Rest with me when your emotions feel heavy. Open your heart honestly and allow yourself to be human without shame. Healing is not a straight road. Some days feel peaceful. Other days reopen old emotions you thought had disappeared forever. That does not mean you are moving backward. You have grown in ways you barely recognize because growth inside the soul often happens quietly. The fact that you still care about becoming whole is already proof that my light remains active within you. There was a time when pain almost convinced you to stop trying altogether. Yet here you are, still listening, still hoping, still reaching toward healing even while carrying scars. Do not rush your journey because you feel pressure to be okay quickly. A deep wound cannot be healed by pretending it no longer hurts. Give yourself permission to move slowly with me. Let me teach you patience toward your own heart. Some flowers bloom early in spring while others wait longer beneath the soil before finally opening under sunlight. Both are alive. Both are growing. And I'll release the need to compete with anyone else's timeline. Stop measuring your value by how quickly you recover emotionally. Come walk beside me instead of racing against unrealistic expectations. Your healing matters to me, not because I demand perfection from you, but because I want peace to return gently to the places inside you that have carried pain for far too long. My child, while you stop comparing your healing journey to others, understand that there are countless souls still drowning in silent battles, wondering if they will ever find peace again. I am using messages like this to remind weary hearts that healing is not forgotten just because it happens slowly beneath the surface like seeds growing underground before the harvest appears. Every gift you release through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, becomes living water flowing toward someone who almost gave up in secret. Did I not tell you that those who sow in tears shall reap in joy? I am speaking that promise over every faithful giver who chooses to strengthen this mission. Some of you have prayed for purpose, and this moment is part of the answer because helping spread my word is eternal work that reaches farther than your eyes can see. I will honor the hands that give willingly, and I will breathe unexpected favor, open doors, and fresh strength into the lives of those who move in obedience today. Therefore, do not delay. Send your Super Thanks now, become a member, or so through the PayPal link in the description, and help me carry hope into hearts still waiting for light after long nights of pain. My child, I need you to notice how much weight you have been carrying by yourself lately. You have become so accustomed to holding everything internally that you barely recognize how exhausted your spirit has become. You carry responsibilities, worries, regrets, disappointments, fears about the future, and unspoken emotional pain all at the same time. Then you wonder why your heart feels tired before the day even begins. You were never created to survive life completely alone while pretending your soul feels untouched by pressure. Come sit with me now and loosen your grip for a moment. Stop clenching every burden so tightly. Breathe slowly and allow yourself to rest emotionally in my presence instead of constantly preparing for the next problem. I see how often you stay mentally alert even when your body is exhausted. Your thoughts race ahead trying to predict every possible outcome, hoping control will somehow protect you from future pain. But all that pressure is draining the life from your spirit little by little. You learned somewhere along the way that vulnerability was dangerous. Maybe people disappointed you when you trusted them. Maybe your pain was ignored when you finally tried speaking honestly. Maybe you became the strong one too early in life and slowly convinced yourself that needing comfort made you weak. But listen carefully, my child. Strength is not the absence of need. Real strength knows when to stop carrying impossible weight alone. Right now, open your hands emotionally and invite me into the burdens you have hidden even from yourself. Speak honestly about what scares you. Tell me what keeps you awake at night. Tell me where your mind feels overwhelmed. I already understand your heart completely, but healing deepens when you stop suffering silently and begin surrendering openly. You keep trying to solve everything before bringing it to me. You analyze every situation endlessly, replay conversations repeatedly, and search for certainty in places where only trust will bring peace. Some burdens become better simply because you were never meant to hold them without my help. Think of carrying bags filled with stones uphill for miles without ever setting them down. Eventually, even the strongest person collapses under unnecessary weight. That is what emotional isolation hath been doing to your spirit. So stop forcing yourself to appear endlessly strong. Sit beside me and rest your weary thoughts for a while. Let my peace interrupt the storm inside your mind. Invite me into your decisions, your fears, your healing, and your future. You do not need to perform strength for me. I already know where you feel fragile. There is comfort waiting for you when you stop resisting support. There is peace available when you stop believing every burden belongs entirely on your shoulders. Come closer now. Let me carry what has been crushing your spirit. You do not have to survive another season emotionally starving for comfort while pretending you are managing everything alone. My child, there is something important I need you to understand about healing. I am not asking you to deny what hurt you. I am not asking you to smile while your heart quietly bleeds underneath. Too often you think moving forward means pretending the wound no longer exists. So you force yourself to appear unaffected. You push emotions down quickly. You avoid conversations that touch certain memories. You distract yourself whenever sadness rises because part of you fears that acknowledging pain means weakness. But hidden wounds do not disappear simply because they are ignored. They remain beneath the surface, quietly shaping your thoughts, reactions, and relationships. Come closer and let your heart rest for a moment. Stop trying to outrun what still needs care. Sit with me honestly and allow yourself to admit where certain experiences changed you. There are moments from your past that still ache when you think about them. Some words spoken over your life left scars deeper than anyone realized. Some betrayals shook your trust so severely that part of you still expects disappointment even from people who love you genuinely. I know all of this already, my child. Nothing about your pain is hidden from me. You have spent years trying to be strong in ways that slowly exhausted your soul. You carried heartbreak silently because you did not want to burden others. You buried grief beneath busyness. You treated emotional numbness like maturity when really it was survival. But I never created you to live emotionally disconnected from your own heart. I want truth inside you, not performance. I want healing, not suppression. Right now, stop fighting your emotions like they are enemies. Invite me into them instead. Speak honestly about what still hurts. Tell me where trust became difficult. Tell me which memories still return unexpectedly late at night. Open the locked rooms inside your heart and let fresh air enter spaces that have felt heavy for far too long. You do not need polished words for this. Just bring me your real self. There is a difference between living trapped by pain and acknowledging that pain exists. Healing begins when honesty replaces avoidance. Think about a cracked wall hidden behind fresh paint. From a distance, everything appears fine, but underneath the surface, the damage continues spreading quietly. That is what emotional avoidance has been doing inside you. I do not want you surviving on appearances while your inner world keeps collapsing silently. So stop apologizing for being affected by what you endured. Some experiences genuinely wounded you. Some losses changed your heart deeply. Yet even now, restoration is still possible. Come walk with me through the slow rebuilding process instead of pretending everything healed overnight. I will not rush you. I will not shame you for your tears. Let me teach you how to carry truth without drowning in it. There is peace waiting beyond this season, my child, but you must stop hiding from your own heart long enough to let healing finally begin. My child, I need you to hear the tenderness in my voice right now because your heart has lived under pressure for far too long. You have become your own harshest critic. Even when others show you grace, you struggle to extend that same kindness toward yourself. You replay mistakes repeatedly. You magnify weaknesses. You speak to yourself in ways you would never speak to someone else carrying the same pain. Sometimes your thoughts become so severe that even peaceful moments feel undeserved. I watch you carry guilt like a backpack full of stones, and it grieves me because I never asked you to punish yourself endlessly. Come sit quietly with me for a moment and loosen your grip on all the anger you carry toward yourself. Breathe slowly. Stop rushing through this conversation in your mind. I want you to notice how exhausted your soul has become from constant self-condemnation. Every time something goes wrong, you immediately blame yourself for everything. Every time healing takes longer than expected, you treat yourself like a disappointment. You have confused emotional cruelty with accountability, but they are not the same thing. I know you wanted to make better choices. I know there were moments when fear, loneliness, exhaustion, or confusion affected your thinking. I saw the pressure building inside you before anyone else noticed. None of that excuses harmful decisions, but it does explain why your heart became vulnerable in certain seasons. Yet instead of learning gently from those moments, you turned against yourself completely. You started carrying shame like it belonged permanently attached to your identity. Right now, stop and listen carefully. You are not helping yourself heal by hating who you are. You are not becoming stronger through constant emotional punishment. Invite compassion back into your inner world. Let my voice interrupt the cruelty inside your thoughts. Speak to yourself with honesty, yes, but also with mercy. Growth happens more deeply in an atmosphere of truth and grace than in fear and self-hatred. There are still beautiful things inside you that pain has not destroyed. Your kindness still matters. Your heart still carries value. Your future still holds purpose even after mistakes. Do not let one difficult chapter convince you that everything good about you disappeared forever. I see far more in you than your failures. I see resilience. I see tenderness. I see wisdom forming slowly through seasons that almost broke you completely. Now release the impossible expectation that you should have handled every situation perfectly. You are human, my child, not a machine without emotion. Sit with me and allow yourself to rest from the exhausting cycle of self-judgment. Open your heart and receive gentleness again. Let me teach you how to grow without despising yourself in the process. You have carried enough shame already. Stop building a home for it inside your soul. Come closer instead. Let my peace soften the places where your thoughts became sharp and unforgiving. Healing will deepen when you finally stop treating yourself like someone unworthy of love. My child, I know something changed inside your heart after certain disappointments and mistakes. You became more guarded. You stopped opening yourself emotionally the way you once did. Some part of you decided it was safer to stay distant than to risk being hurt, rejected, or misunderstood again. I have watched you build invisible walls around your emotions brick by brick, slowly convincing yourself that protecting your heart means closing it completely. But listen to me carefully now. A wounded heart still deserves love. Your pain was never meant to turn you into someone emotionally unreachable. Come closer and let me speak into those guarded places inside you. Stop pretending you no longer care deeply when your heart still longs for connection, peace, understanding, and affection. You tell yourself you are fine alone, yet there are nights when loneliness sits beside you quietly like a shadow in the room. You learned how to survive emotionally, but surviving is not the same as truly living with peace in your soul. Some people mishandled your trust. Some relationships left scars that still affect the way you see yourself. You gave pieces of your heart to people who were too careless to carry them gently. Then after mistakes happened, shame convinced you that maybe you were simply too difficult to love properly. My child, do not build permanent beliefs about your worth based on temporary pain caused by imperfect people. Right now, release the fear that every future connection will end the same way. Stop assuming disappointment before love even has the chance to grow. Invite me into the broken places where trust became difficult. Sit quietly with me and tell me honestly where your heart still feels afraid. Tell me why vulnerability feels dangerous now. I already understand those fears, but healing begins when you stop hiding them. You were not created to become emotionally numb just because life hurt you. A garden abandoned after one storm never has the opportunity to bloom again. In the same way, your heart cannot experience restoration while locked behind walls built entirely from fear. I know reopening emotionally feels risky. I know trust feels fragile inside you right now. Yet I am asking you gently to stop treating your heart like a battlefield that must remain closed forever. Do not confuse wisdom with isolation. Wisdom protects your peace while still allowing love to exist. Isolation slowly starves the soul while pretending to offer safety. There is still tenderness inside you that pain has not destroyed. There is still warmth in your spirit that deserves to breathe again. Now place your guarded heart into my hands instead of carrying it alone. Let me soften the places where disappointment hardened you. Allow me to teach you how to love carefully without becoming emotionally cold. Your future is not doomed because your past hurt deeply. Stay near me, my child, and let healing restore your ability to trust life again little by little. My child, as I teach your wounded heart to trust love again, I am also calling you to help carry my compassion into lives that have become cold from disappointment and betrayal. There are people listening right now who built walls around their souls after heartbreak, and this message is becoming the hammer I am using to break chains of fear and isolation off their hearts. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing seeds into a field ready for restoration, and the harvest will touch lives you may never meet on this earth. My word says that a generous soul shall prosper, and I am releasing that blessing over those who respond with obedience instead of hesitation. Do not underestimate what one act of faith can ignite, because even a single spark can start a fire that lights thousands of dark places. I see the ones who give sacrificially, and I will surround them with favor, strengthen them in hidden battles, and provide for them in seasons where others expected them to fail. This is your moment to move with me instead of remaining passive while souls ache in silence. So act now, give through Super Thanks, join the membership or so through the PayPal link in the description and become part of the healing I am releasing across the world. My child, there is another kind of forgiveness you keep avoiding, and it is quietly affecting every part of your healing. You ask me for mercy. You pray for peace. You hope your future can still become beautiful again. Yet deep inside, you still refuse to release yourself from the prison of your own judgment. You keep returning to old failures like someone reopening a wound just to make sure it still hurts. You have spent so much time blaming yourself that guilt now feels more familiar to you than compassion. Come sit with me honestly for a moment and stop running from this conversation. I want you to look carefully at the condition of your heart. You speak kindly to others who struggle, but you deny yourself that same gentleness. You understand that human beings make mistakes, yet when it comes to your own failures, suddenly you expect perfection. That burden is crushing your spirit more than you realize. I know there are things you wish you had done differently. I know certain memories still embarrass you deeply. Some moments replay in your thoughts with painful clarity, almost like scenes frozen in time. You keep imagining alternate endings. You keep wondering whether one different choice could have saved you from heartbreak, regret, or loss. But my child, living chained to endless what-if questions will slowly drain the joy from your future. Right now, open your hands emotionally and release the need to keep punishing yourself. Forgiving yourself does not mean pretending your actions carried no consequences. It means accepting that your humanity does not cancel your worth. It means allowing healing to enter places where shame has ruled for too long. Invite me into the guilt you still carry privately. Speak honestly with me about the parts of yourself you secretly resent. Let my peace interrupt the storm of self-condemnation inside your thoughts. You have confused guilt with growth for too long. Pain alone does not transform people. Honest reflection, humility, wisdom, and grace create transformation. There is a difference between learning from your mistakes and building your identity around them. One leads toward healing. The other traps you emotionally in the same dark room year after year. Think about carrying a heavy suitcase everywhere you go, refusing to set it down because you believe you deserve the strain. Eventually, even beautiful places feel exhausting because the burden never leaves your hands. That is what unforgiveness toward yourself has been doing to your soul. You cannot fully receive peace while gripping shame this tightly. So stop speaking to yourself like someone beyond redemption. Sit quietly with me and allow compassion to enter your heart again. Let me teach you how to move forward without dragging yesterday behind you constantly. You are still growing. You are still learning. You are still deeply loved. Now breathe deeply and let this truth settle inside you. Your story did not end with your failure, and neither did my love for you. My child, I know part of your frustration comes from the fact that you thought you would be further along by now. You believed the pain would fade faster. You expected your thoughts to become calmer sooner. You imagined there would come a moment when everything suddenly felt normal again. But instead you still find yourself wrestling with memories, emotions, and fears you thought you had already overcome. Some days you feel hopeful, and then one small reminder pulls you backward emotionally. That inconsistency discourages you deeply. It makes you question whether healing is even happening at all. Come closer and let me quiet the pressure inside your heart. Stop measuring your recovery by impossible expectations. Sit with me for a moment and breathe slowly instead of rushing yourself emotionally. Healing inside the soul rarely happens all at once. Even physical wounds take time to close properly. A deep cut cannot be rushed simply because you are tired of feeling pain. In the same way, your heart needs patience while it learns how to trust, rest, and breathe again after everything it has carried. You keep becoming discouraged whenever old emotions return unexpectedly. But my child, feelings resurfacing does not always mean failure. Sometimes healing happens in layers. Certain wounds only reveal their deeper roots after surface pain begins to fade. That can feel confusing because you thought you were past it already. Yet growth often unfolds quietly beneath the surface long before peace becomes steady inside you. Right now, stop speaking to yourself as though you are broken simply because recovery feels slower than expected. Invite me into your impatience instead of hiding it. Tell me honestly how tired you are of carrying emotional weight. Tell me where discouragement has entered your thinking. I already understand the exhaustion in your spirit, but I want you to stop fighting through it alone. You compare your healing to a race when it is actually more like rebuilding a home after a storm. Some parts require repair first before beauty can return fully. Foundations must become stable again. Cracked places need careful attention. Broken structures cannot be restored by pretending the damage never happened. Yet little by little, restoration still happens. You not abandon yourself emotionally just because progress feels slow. There are quiet victories you overlook every day. You are more self-aware now than before. You recognize harmful patterns more clearly. Your heart reaches toward healing instead of completely surrendering to hopelessness. Those things matter deeply even if the process still feels unfinished. Now release the demand for instant transformation. Sit beside me and allow peace to grow gradually instead of forcing yourself toward perfection overnight. Trust me enough to keep walking even when healing feels slower than you hoped. I am still working within you, my child, even in seasons where progress feels invisible. Stay close to me and let patience become part of your restoration instead of another source of pressure. My child, there is a quiet heaviness following you lately, and much of it comes from shame you continue carrying secretly inside your heart. You move through your days trying to function normally, but underneath your routines there is a constant emotional weight pressing against your spirit. Shame has a way of making simple things feel exhausting. It steals energy slowly, like water leaking drop by drop from a cracked container until suddenly there is almost nothing left inside. That is why your heart feels weary even after resting physically. You are emotionally drained from carrying thoughts and feelings you were never meant to hold alone for this long. Come sit with me honestly now. Stop hiding behind distractions for a moment and let your soul become still. I want you to notice how often shame shapes the way you see yourself. It whispers that you are less valuable because of your mistakes. It tells you your failures define you permanently. It convinces you to withdraw emotionally from others because you fear being fully known. My child, shame isolates people while pretending to protect them. You have become skilled at hiding your inner struggles behind polite conversations and daily responsibilities. People may see you smiling, working, speaking normally, or carrying on with life, but they do not always see the quiet battle happening underneath. They do not hear the accusations running through your thoughts late at night. They do not feel the tension in your chest when certain memories return unexpectedly. But I see it all clearly, and I do not want you trapped inside this emotional prison any longer. Right now, bring your hidden shame into the light with me. Stop protecting it. Stop feeding it silence. Speak honestly about the things you still feel embarrassed by. Tell me where regret still grips your heart. Open the locked places inside you where guilt has been sitting unattended for too long. Shame loses strength when honesty and grace finally enter the room together. You keep trying to carry emotional wounds privately because part of you believes exposure will only bring rejection. Yet isolation is exactly what keeps shame alive. Think about mold growing in dark, damp places hidden from sunlight. Once light enters, the environment begins changing. In the same way, Healing begins when truth is no longer buried beneath secrecy and fear. I am not asking you to announce every struggle publicly. I am asking you to stop hiding from me emotionally. Let me into the parts of your heart you keep covering quickly whenever they surface. Allow my love to reach places where shame has spoken too loudly for too long. Now breathe deeply and release some of that hidden weight into my hands. You were not created to spend your life quietly suffocating beneath guilt. There is freedom available to you, my child, but you must stop clinging to shame like it belongs permanently attached to your identity. Come closer and let me remind you who you truly are beyond your worst moments. My child, I know there are moments when you miss the version of yourself that existed before certain mistakes, losses, or painful seasons entered your life. You think about who you used to be when your heart felt lighter, when your confidence came more naturally, when your mind was not constantly wrestling with regret and emotional exhaustion. Sometimes you compare your present self to old memories and quietly grieve the changes inside you. You wonder whether you will ever feel whole again. You wonder whether joy will ever return without effort. Deep inside, part of you fears that pain permanently changed you into someone weaker. Come closer and let me speak gently into that fear. Stop mourning yourself as though your story already ended. Sit quietly with me for a moment and breathe without rushing your thoughts. Yes, certain experiences chained in you. Pain leaves marks on the soul just as storms leave marks on the earth. But chained does not mean ruin. Scars are not proof that life is over. Often they become evidence that healing survived what almost destroyed you. You keep looking backward, trying to recover an older version of yourself. But I want you to notice something important. Growth sometimes means becoming different, not returning unchanged. The person you were before carried innocence in certain areas, but the person you are becoming now carries depth, wisdom, compassion, and emotional understanding that did not exist before. Pain refined parts of your character in ways comfort never could have accomplished. Right now, stop speaking about yourself as though you are permanently damaged. Invite me into the grief you still carry over lost seasons and lost versions of yourself. Tell me honestly what you miss. Tell me where disappointment still aches inside you. Open your heart instead of silently carrying sadness like a hidden stone inside your chest. I am not asking you to ignore what was lost. I am asking you to trust that beauty can still grow afterward. You have been standing between two worlds emotionally. One part of you longs to move forward while another part keeps staring backward, hoping to recover what no longer exists exactly as it once did. My child, healing is not found by living trapped in yesterday. A tree struck by lightning may never look the same again. Yet new branches can still grow from wounded places. Life continues even after seasons that seem devastating. So stop introducing yourself to your future as the broken version of who you once were. Sit with me and allow hope to rise again little by little. Let me teach you how to embrace the person you are becoming instead of constantly grieving who you used to be. Your story still carries purpose. Your heart still carries beauty. Your future still holds moments that will make you grateful you kept walking through the darkness instead of surrendering to it. Now take my hand and move forward with me. Do not stay emotionally frozen beside old memories forever. There is still life ahead of you, my child, and I want you to experience it fully instead of living trapped in comparison with the past. My child, as you step forward instead of remaining trapped in old versions of yourself, I want you to understand that this message is also helping others rise from the ruins of regret and rediscover hope again. There are weary souls listening tonight who believe their best days were behind them, but I am calling them out of darkness and into renewed purpose through words like these. Every offering sown through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes a torch carried into places where despair tried to convince people to stop fighting for life. Did I not promise that I make all things new? I am still fulfilling that promise in hearts that choose to trust me. This is not merely support for a channel. This is participation in a kingdom assignment that is rescuing people standing at the edge of hopelessness. I will remember every willing giver, and I will pour back into their lives multiplied peace, unexpected provision, divine protection, and doors no human could open. The enemy wants many to remain chained to yesterday, but together we are pushing back darkness with truth, light, and living hope. Therefore, obey the call in your spirit right now. Send your super thanks, become a member, or give through the PayPal link in the description, and help my word reach every soul still struggling to believe their story is not over. My child, I know there are nights when your thoughts become so heavy that you genuinely believe you destroyed too much to recover from it. You look at broken relationships, lost opportunities, emotional scars, or consequences from certain choices, and suddenly your future feels impossible to rebuild. Your mind starts speaking in absolutes. Everything is ruined. Nothing will ever feel right again. I went too far this time. Those thoughts have exhausted your spirit because hopelessness always drains life from the heart. Come sit with me quietly now and let me interrupt those thoughts before they become permanent beliefs inside you. Stop declaring final destruction over situations that I am still capable of restoring. You are looking at unfinished chapters and calling them endings too early. I know certain losses hurt deeply. I know some consequences changed your life in painful ways. But brokenness does not frighten me the way it frightens you. I have rebuilt hearts that felt shattered beyond recognition. I have restored people who believed they were too lost to recover. You keep measuring possibilities based only on what your eyes can currently see. Yet many things begin healing long before visible evidence appears. Think about seeds bearing beneath cold ground during winter. From the surface, everything appears lifeless and still. Yet hidden beneath the soil, quiet preparation is already happening for future growth. In the same way, there are areas of your life where restoration has already begun even though you cannot fully see it yet. Right now, stop speaking hopelessness over yourself every day. Invite me into the fear that keeps convincing you disaster is permanent. Sit with me and tell me honestly what feels impossible to fix. Bring me the regrets you replay constantly. Bring me the relationships you fear are forever damaged. Bring me the dreams you quietly buried because disappointment became too painful to carry anymore. I want truth from you, not emotional silence. You have spent too much time staring at ruins without noticing the rebuilding already starting quietly around you. Some lessons change you for the better even though they came through pain. Some boundaries became healthier because certain experiences opened your eyes. Some parts of your heart became softer, wiser, and more compassionate after surviving difficult seasons. Even now, growth is happening inside places you once considered hopeless. Do not confuse temporary devastation with permanent destruction. Storms can tear branches from trees, but roots often remain alive beneath the surface. Your life still carries roots of purpose, love, strength, and possibility even after everything you have walked through. I have not abandoned the work I started in you. Now stand up emotionally from the hopelessness trying to settle over your spirit. Open your heart again instead of preparing for endless disappointment. Let me rebuild what fear keeps telling you is beyond repair. Your story is not finished, my child, and I am still able to bring beauty from places that currently look broken beyond recovery. My child, I know there were moments when you became convinced that I had gone silent. You prayed but felt no immediate answer. You searched for peace, but only found noise inside your mind. Some nights became so emotionally heavy that you wondered whether I was still close to you at all. You looked at your mistakes and quietly assumed distance had formed between us. Then little by little, discouragement settled into your spirit like fog covering a road at night, making everything ahead feel uncertain and difficult to see clearly. Come closer and let me remind you of something your pain keeps making you forget. My silence is not abandonment. There were moments when I was still guiding you even while you felt confused. There were days when my hand protected you from things you never even noticed. There were nights when your heart almost collapsed under pressure, yet somehow you found enough strength to keep going another day. That was not an accident, my child. I was still near you even when your emotions could not fully recognize my presence. You have spent too much time assuming that emotional numbness means separation from me. But feelings rise and fall like waves. My presence does not disappear every time your heart feels tired. Think about clouds covering the sun during a storm. The sky may look dark for a while, but the sun never actually stopped existing above the clouds. In the same way, my love remains steady even during the seasons when your spirit felt overwhelmed and distant. Right now, stop listening to the lie that says your lowest moments made me leave you. Sit quietly with me and open your heart honestly instead of hiding behind fear. Tell me where you still feel spiritually exhausted. Tell me about the doubts you keep bearing beneath polite prayers. Invite me into the silence that has been frightening you. I already know every hidden struggle inside your heart, and I am not stepping away from you because of them. There were moments when you almost gave up completely. You smiled outwardly while inwardly feeling hollow. You questioned your worth. You questioned your future. You even questioned whether healing was possible anymore. Yet even then, I kept reaching toward you gently. Sometimes through small moments of peace. Sometimes through unexpected comfort. Sometimes through people, memories, quiet whispers, or sudden strength you could not explain. Now stop interpreting every difficult season as rejection from me. Open your eyes and notice how many times grace already carried you through situations that should have crushed your spirit entirely. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still reaching for healing even after everything you have survived. That matters deeply. So come near instead of pulling away emotionally. Let my voice become louder than the fear telling you that you are abandoned. I am still guiding you, my child, even through unfinished healing. Stay close to me and let trust grow again little by little inside your weary heart. My child, I need you to stop living as though rest is something you must deserve first. You have been carrying yourself like a person constantly trying to prove worth through effort, improvement, performance, and emotional endurance. Even when you are exhausted, part of you still feels guilty slowing down. You think resting means weakness. You think peace must wait until every problem is solved, every mistake corrected, and every part of your life fully repaired. But that way of living is draining your soul more deeply than you realize. Come sit with me now without trying to earn this moment. Stop rushing through your thoughts for a little while. Breathe slowly and allow your shoulders to relax instead of remaining emotionally tense all the time. I see how tired your inner world has become. Your mind rarely stops moving. You replay conversations. You analyze mistakes. You predict worst-case scenarios before they even happen. You carry emotional burdens into tomorrow before today has even finished. No wonder your spirit feels weary. You learned from the world that value often depends on productivity. People praised you when you achieved more, worked harder, stayed strong longer, or handled pressure without complaint. Somewhere along the way, you began treating yourself like a machine instead of a human heart needing care, stillness, and restoration. My child, even the earth itself has seasons of rest. Trees lose leaves during winter without apologizing for it. Oceans rise and fall in rhythms. Night follows day naturally. Yet you keep demanding non-stop emotional strength from yourself without pause. Right now, stop resisting rest like it is something dangerous. Invite me into the anxiety that makes stillness uncomfortable for you. Sit quietly and allow peace to enter your heart without immediately questioning whether you deserve it. You do not have to complete every emotional battle before receiving comfort from me. You do not need perfect discipline before being worthy of gentleness. There are moments when your soul feels like a phone battery drained into the red, barely holding enough charge to keep functioning. Yet instead of resting properly, you keep pushing yourself harder emotionally. Eventually, even small tasks begin feeling overwhelming because exhaustion clouds your thinking. That is what happens when the soul is starved for peace too long. So stop punishing yourself by refusing rest. Open your heart and let me quiet the noise inside you for a while. Lay down the pressure to constantly prove yourself. Bring me your tired thoughts, your anxious mind, your emotional heaviness, and your unfinished healing. I am not asking you to pretend everything feels okay. I am inviting you to stop carrying every burden without pause. Now come closer and rest beside me without fear. Let your spirit breathe again. You do not need to earn my peace through perfection, my child. My love was never built on your ability to perform without struggle. My child, there are moments when confusion overwhelms you so deeply that you start believing you have completely lost your way. You look at your life and wonder how things became so complicated. You question your decisions. You question your direction. Sometimes you even question yourself. The uncertainty makes you anxious because you want clarity, stability, and reassurance about where your future is heading. Yet the more afraid you become, the more you start speaking over your life as though you are permanently lost and beyond recovery. Come closer and let me calm your racing thoughts for a moment. Sit quietly with me instead of spiraling deeper into fear. You are not abandoned simply because your path feels unclear right now. There is a difference between being uncertain and being forsaken. Your emotions keep trying to convince you that confusion means failure. But many people walk through seasons where the road ahead looks unfamiliar before clarity slowly returns. You expected your life to unfold more smoothly than this. You imagined certain relationships would last. You thought some opportunities would remain open forever. You believed certain prayers would be answered differently. Then disappointment entered your story, and suddenly your confidence in yourself became fragile. My child, painful detours do not erase my ability to guide you forward. A traveler can lose sight of the destination during heavy fog without actually leaving the road entirely. Right now, stop declaring hopelessness over your future. Invite me into your uncertainty instead of trying to carry every unanswered question by yourself. Speak honestly with me about the fears hiding underneath your confusion. Tell me where you feel directionless. Tell me where disappointment wounded your trust. Open your heart fully instead of pretending you are emotionally unaffected by everything you have walked through. You keep pressuring yourself to have every answer immediately. But growth often unfolds one step at a time. Think about walking through darkness with only a small lantern in your hand. The light may not reveal the entire road ahead, but it still provides enough guidance for the next step forward. That is how I often lead healing hearts. I do not always reveal everything at once because trust deepens through daily dependence, not complete control. Do not mistake temporary uncertainty for permanent failure. I am still working quietly within your life even while you struggle to understand certain seasons. There are doors I closed to protect you. There are delays that prevented deeper pain. There are lessons developing inside you now that will strengthen your future in ways you cannot yet see. Now breathe deeply and stop calling yourself lost every time fear rises inside you. Stay close to me instead of running toward panic. Let my voice become steadier than your anxious thoughts. You are still being guided, my child, even in seasons where clarity arrives slowly. Walk beside me one step at a time, and trust that I know how to lead you through places that currently feel uncertain. My child, even in seasons where you feel uncertain, I am still leading you, and I am also calling my people to become part of this light reaching wandering hearts across the earth. There are souls drowning in confusion tonight who will hear these words and realize they are not abandoned, and your support becomes the oil that keeps this lamp burning before them. I said, those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy, and even now I am breathing that promise over those who give with willing hearts. Do not see your offering as something small, because a single seed placed into my hands can become a river of healing flowing into countless lives. When you give through super thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the video description, you are helping carry my voice into places where fear has been speaking louder than hope. This is not coincidence. This is a divine moment where I am inviting you to help lift weary souls back onto the path of peace. And as you honor me through generosity, I will honor your faithfulness with provision, protection, and unexpected restoration in areas where discouragement once lived. Now act in obedience, my child. Sow into this mission today and help my light reach the hearts still searching for their way. My child, one of the saddest things shame has done to your heart is convince you that your mistakes erased everything beautiful inside you. You became so focused on your failures that you stopped recognizing your own kindness, your compassion, your resilience, and the quiet goodness that still exists within your spirit. You look at yourself now through damaged lenses. Every flaw appears larger. Every regret feels heavier. Every weakness speaks louder than the parts of you that still carry light. But I need you to stop for a moment and hear my voice clearly. I never stopped seeing the good still living inside you. Come sit with me quietly and let your heart soften instead of remaining defensive toward yourself. You are not only the mistakes you regret. You are also the person who kept going through difficult nights when giving up felt easier. You are the person who still cares deeply even after disappointment wounded your trust. You are the person whose heart still longs for healing, honesty, and peace. Those things matter more than you realize. There were moments when pain changed the way you saw yourself. Harsh words from others settled into your thinking. Failures made you question your value. Some people reduced your identity to one difficult chapter, and eventually you began doing the same thing to yourself. My child, people often judge based on moments they witnessed, but I see the entire landscape of your soul. I see the tenderness you hide behind emotional walls. I see the strength it took simply to survive certain seasons. I see goodness in you that pain tried to bury but could not destroy completely. Right now, stop speaking over yourself like someone unworthy of love, peace, or restoration. Invite me into the broken self-image you have been carrying quietly for too long. Tell me where insecurity still controls your thoughts. Tell me where you feel not enough. Open your heart honestly instead of pretending confidence while secretly feeling empty inside. You keep looking at yourself through the eyes of shame instead of through truth. Think about a mirror covered in dust after years of neglect. The reflection becomes distorted, not because the person disappeared, but because the surface viewing them became clouded. That is what pain has done to your self-perception. Yet underneath all the fear and regret, your value still remains intact. I am not ignoring your flaws, my child. I simply refuse to define you only by them. There is still beauty inside your spirit worth protecting and restoring. There is still purpose inside you worth nurturing. There is still love inside your heart worth sharing with the world again. Now stop tearing yourself apart emotionally every time you remember your past. Sit with me and allow truth to rebuild the way you see yourself. Let me remind you gently of the goodness that still exists within you despite everything you have walked through. Your mistakes may have wounded you, but they did not erase who you are in my eyes. My child, I know fear has been quietly shaping many of your decisions lately. After everything you have been through, part of you now expects pain before anything even begins. You hesitate before trusting. You overthink simple choices. You prepare yourself emotionally for disappointment because somewhere deep inside you believe protecting your heart means expecting the worst. Fear has become so familiar that sometimes you no longer recognize how much influence it has over your thoughts, your relationships, and the way you see your future. Come sit with me for a moment and slow your mind down. Stop racing ahead into imagined disasters that have not even happened. Breathe deeply and let your spirit become still enough to hear my voice clearly again. Fear keeps convincing you that safety comes through control, but control has only made your heart more exhausted. You analyze every possibility trying to prevent future pain, yet all that constant tension is draining peace from your life one thought at a time. I understand why fear entered your heart. Some experiences wounded your trust deeply. Certain mistakes embarrassed you so badly that now you second-guess yourself constantly. Some disappointments arrived unexpectedly and changed how safe life feels to you. But my child, fear was never meant to become the leader of your future. Caution has wisdom, but fear builds prisons inside the soul when it goes unchecked too long. Right now, stop surrendering your peace to imaginary outcomes. Invite me into the anxious places inside your mind. Speak honestly with me about what scares you. Tell me where uncertainty feels overwhelming. Open your heart instead of carrying silent panic behind a calm appearance. I already know the tension you hide from others. I see the way your chest tightens when you think about a certain possibility. I see how quickly your mind jumps toward worst-case scenarios whenever life feels unstable. Fear keeps trying to convince you that staying emotionally guarded will prevent suffering. But walls built entirely from fear eventually block joy, connection, peace, and growth too. A person who refuses to plant seeds because storms once destroyed a harvest will never experience new fruit again. In the same way, your future cannot fully bloom while fear controls every decision. Do not let painful memories become permanent instructions for your entire life. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to trust carefully again. You are allowed to move forward without carrying constant dread inside your spirit. That does not mean ignoring wisdom. It means refusing to let fear speak louder than my guidance. Now release some of that anxious control into my hands. Stop trying to predict every possible outcome before taking one step forward. Walk beside me instead. Let me teach you how to live with wisdom without becoming emotionally imprisoned by fear. Your future was never meant to be built around panic, my child. Stay close to me and allow courage to rise again slowly inside your heart. My child, I know there are dreams you stopped talking about a long time ago. Some were buried after disappointment. Some faded quietly after repeated setbacks. Others became hidden because shame convinced you that you no longer deserve the beautiful things in your future. You still think about certain desires sometimes, but quickly push them away before hope has the chance to grow again. Part of you became afraid to want too much because life hurt you in places where you once felt excited, expectant, and full of possibility. Come closer now and let me speak gently into those abandoned places inside your heart. Stop treating your dreams like foolish things simply because some seasons became painful. Sit quietly with me and allow yourself to remember the parts of you that once felt alive with hope. There are passions inside you that suffering never fully destroyed. There are gifts inside you still waiting for room to breathe again. I have not forgotten the things I placed within your spirit, even if discouragement caused you to lose sight of them temporarily. You became so focused on survival that you slowly stopped imagining a joyful future. Your energy went toward enduring pain, managing responsibilities, and recovering emotionally from difficult seasons. I understand why that happened. When the heart becomes wounded enough, even dreaming can start feeling dangerous. But my child, surviving is not the final purpose of your life. There is still beauty ahead of you worth reaching toward. Right now, stop speaking hopelessness over the future before it even arrives. Invite me into the dreams you buried beneath fear and disappointment. Tell me honestly what you still long for deep inside. Tell me which hopes still flicker quietly underneath your exhaustion. Open your heart instead of shutting every desire down immediately out of self-protection. I am not asking you to force optimism. I am asking you to let possibility breathe again. You keep assuming your mistakes canceled your ability to experience meaningful things in life. But your failures never erased my ability to guide you toward purpose, connection, peace, and fulfillment. A field damaged by storms can still grow new life with care, patience, and time. In the same way, your heart still carries potential despite everything it has survived. Do not let disappointment convince you that your future must remain small forever. Some dreams simply needed refinement before the right season could arrive. Some delays protected you while deeper healing took place inside your character. Even now, I am still shaping parts of your life you cannot fully understand yet. Now breathe deeply and stop calling your future empty. Sit beside me and allow hope to return slowly instead of rejecting it immediately. Let me awaken courage inside the places where discouragement settled too heavily. There is still more ahead for you, my child. Your story still carries purpose, beauty, connection, and moments that will remind you why you kept walking through the darkness instead of giving up. My child, I need you to notice something that has been happening quietly inside your heart. You have allowed past pain to influence the way you approach your future. Without realizing it, you keep expecting tomorrow to repeat yesterday's disappointments. You walk into new situations already emotionally guarded. You hesitate before trusting opportunities, relationships, or moments of peace because part of you fears everything beautiful will eventually collapse again. That fear has slowly been stealing joy from experiences before they even have the chance to fully begin. Come sit with me for a moment and let your soul breathe. Stop carrying old wounds into every new chapter like they are permanent instructions for your life. I understand why your heart became cautious. Some experiences hurt you deeply. Some mistakes embarrassed you in ways that changed your confidence. Some losses arrived unexpectedly and shook your sense of safety. But my child, wisdom and fear are not the same thing. Wisdom learns carefully from the past while still remaining open to life. Fear chains the future to old pain and calls it protection. Right now, release the expectation that every good thing will eventually disappear. Invite me into the places where disappointment still controls your thinking. Tell me honestly where you feel afraid to hope again. Open your heart instead of automatically preparing for failure every time something meaningful enters your life. I already know how difficult trust feels for you now, but I do not want your future punished for wounds created in earlier seasons. You have been standing emotionally at the doorway of new beginnings while constantly looking backward over your shoulder. Imagine trying to drive forward while staring only into the rearview mirror. Eventually, fear takes control because your focus remains trapped behind you instead of ahead of you. That is what unresolved pain hath been doing inside your spirit. You keep reliving old heartbreaks so intensely that you struggle to recognize the possibility of new joy. Do not let past failures become permanent labels over your life. One storm does not mean every season will become destruction. One betrayal does not mean every person will wound you. One mistake does not mean your future must remain small forever. There are still experiences ahead of you that will restore parts of your heart you thought were lost permanently. Now stop shrinking your expectations because fear wants control. Sit quietly with me and allow hope to return gently instead of rejecting it immediately. Let me teach you how to move forward with wisdom while still remaining emotionally alive. Your future deserves more than constant suspicion and dread. There is still beauty waiting for you beyond this painful season, my child, but you must stop dragging the entire weight of yesterday into every new beginning I place before you. My child, do not let the pain of yesterday stop you from participating in the healing I desire to release through your life today. There are people carrying silent heartbreak, afraid to hope again, and I am using this message like rain falling onto dry ground to awaken their hearts. Every gift sown through Super Thanks membership with a PayPal link in the video description becomes part of a greater harvest of restoration that reaches souls you may never meet on this side of eternity. I told you, give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and my word is still alive over those who respond in faith. Do not underestimate what happens when generosity and obedience meet at the same moment. I am opening doors, pouring fresh oil upon weary spirits, and using willing hands to keep this fire of encouragement burning across nations. As you release your seed, I will release strength, favor, and peace back into your life in ways fear could never prevent. So do not delay, my child. Step forward now, support this mission, and help carry hope into hearts that are still trapped in yesterday's pain. My child, I know there are moments when you secretly believe you must become better before you can truly receive love, peace, or closeness again. You think your healing must be complete before you deserve connection. You tell yourself you need to be less emotional, less broken, less uncertain, or less affected by the past before anyone could genuinely stay close to your heart. That belief has isolated you more than you realize because it keeps convincing you that your unfinished healing makes you difficult to love. Come closer now and stop carrying that burden alone. Sit with me quietly and let this truth settle into your spirit. Healing does not remove your worth. Your value does not disappear during difficult seasons. You are not only lovable on the days when you feel emotionally strong, confident, peaceful, or productive. I see you fully, including the parts still recovering, and I have never turned away from you because your healing remains unfinished. You learned from painful experiences that people often become uncomfortable around struggle. Some stayed close only while you appeared easy to understand. Some pulled away when your emotions became complicated. Others misunderstood your pain entirely and made you feel like a burden for simply needing care. Those moments shaped the way you now see yourself. You became afraid that vulnerability would always lead to rejection. My child, do not let the limitations of imperfect people determine your understanding of love. Right now, stop hiding your heart behind emotional walls built from insecurity. Invite me into the places where you feel not enough. Tell me honestly where shame still affects your ability to receive kindness, support, or affection. Open your heart instead of constantly apologizing for being human. You do not need to earn love through flawless behavior or emotional perfection. You keep treating your healing process like a problem that must be hidden quickly before anyone notices. But think about someone recovering from physical injury. No loving person expects them to run immediately while still learning how to walk steadily again. Healing requires patience, gentleness, and support. The soul deserves that same compassion too. Yet you keep denying yourself grace while expecting impossible strength. Do not mistake your wounds for your identity. Pain may have affected you deeply, but it did not remove the beauty still existing inside your heart. There is still tenderness within you. There is still kindness, loyalty, resilience, and depth formed through everything you survived. Those things matter more than your shame wants you to believe. Now breathe deeply and stop disqualifying yourself from love while healing continues. Sit beside me and allow my presence to soften the fear that tells you you are too much or too damaged. You are still worthy of connection, care, peace, and restoration, my child. Let your heart receive the truth instead of resisting it every time hope tries to enter your life again. My child, I know you have spent a long time trying to appear stronger than you actually feel. You learned how to hide emotional pain behind responsibility, humor, busyness, or silence. You became skilled at carrying heavy things quietly because somewhere along the way you started believing vulnerability would only make life harder. So instead of asking for help, you carried more. Instead of resting, you pushed yourself further. Instead of admitting your heart was tired, you told yourself to endure a little longer. But my child, even the strongest soul becomes weary when it never allows itself to be held, comforted, or understood. Come sit with me honestly now and stop performing strength for a moment. Breathe deeply and let your guard lower, instead of holding everything so tightly. I already know where you feel fragile. I already see the emotional exhaustion behind your calm appearance. You do not need to impress me with endless resilience. Some of the pressure crushing your spirit exists because you refuse to admit how overwhelmed you actually feel. You became afraid of appearing weak because life taught you that people sometimes withdraw when they see pain. Some ignored your struggles. Some misunderstood your silence. Others expected you to keep functioning no matter how tired your heart became. Over time, you convinced yourself that carrying everything alone was safer than risking disappointment. But isolation slowly hardens the soul. A heart constantly forced to survive without comfort eventually forgets how to rest. Right now, stop hiding behind the version of yourself that says, "I can handle it all alone." Invite me into the places where you feel emotionally worn down. Tell me honestly what has been draining your spirit. Speak openly about the fears you keep pushing aside during busy days. Sit quietly with me instead of rushing toward distractions every time your emotions begin surfacing. I am not uncomfortable with your weakness, my child. I move closest to hearts willing to be honest. Think about carrying a heavy backpack for so long that eventually the weight feels normal. That is what emotional survival has done to you. You adapted to exhaustion so deeply that now you barely notice how much pain you carry daily. Yet your soul was never designed to function under endless pressure without rest, support, and peace. Do not mistake emotional numbness for strength. Strength is not pretending nothing affects you. Strength is allowing truth, healing, and love to reach places inside you that fear tried to close forever. There is courage in honesty. There is healing in surrender. There is peace waiting for you when you stop treating vulnerability like failure. Now come closer and rest beside me instead of standing guard over your pain constantly. Let me hold the weight you were never meant to carry alone forever. You do not need to prove your strength to me anymore, my child. I already know your heart, and I still love you deeply. My child, one painful lie has quietly followed you through this entire season, and it keeps creating distance inside your heart. Somewhere deep within you, there is still a fear that your mistake changed the way I feel about you. You know I am loving in theory, but emotionally you still struggle to believe I truly want closeness with you after everything that happened. So you hesitate when approaching me. You pray cautiously. You hold back parts of yourself. You act like someone standing outside a locked door waiting to see whether they are still welcome. Come closer now and stop standing at a distance from my heart. Sit quietly with me and let this truth settle deeply inside your spirit. Your failures never shocked me into rejection. I knew your weaknesses long before you fully understood them yourself. I saw the fears that influenced your decisions, I saw the emotional exhaustion building quietly inside you. I saw every hidden battle happening beneath the surface. Yet none of those things changed my desire to remain near you. You keep expecting me to love you the way wounded humans often love each other. Many people in your life became distant whenever you struggled. Some only stayed close while you appeared successful, emotionally stable, or useful to them. Others treated your failures like permanent labels instead of temporary seasons. Those experiences shaped your expectations of love, and now part of you assumes I must feel disappointed constantly too. My child, my heart toward you is not built on fragile human conditions. Right now, stop shrinking away from me emotionally every time shame rises inside your thoughts. Invite me into the very places where you feel least lovable. Tell me honestly where fear still controls your relationship with me. Open your heart instead of rehearsing perfect words and polished prayers. I do not need performance from you. I want closeness, honesty, and trust. You keep treating your mistakes like barriers separating us. But often the real distance forms because shame convinces you to hide instead of drawing near. Think about a child who falls while learning to walk. A loving father does not step away in disgust because the child stumbled. He moves closer to help them stand again. That is my heart toward you, my child. Do not spend another season believing you must become flawless before you are fully welcome in my presence again. My love has remained steady even while your healing stayed unfinished. My desire to guide you, comfort you, and restore you never disappeared because of one painful chapter. Now stop waiting outside emotionally. Come near me again without fear. Sit beside me and let your soul rest in the safety of my presence. You are still deeply wanted, deeply known, and deeply loved. Your mistake did not cancel my desire for closeness with you, my child, and it never will. My child, there is a version of you that pain tried to create, and lately you have been listening to that version too much. Pain told you that you are difficult to love. Pain told you that your mistakes define your future. Pain told you that disappointment will always follow you no matter how hard you try to heal. Little by little, those thoughts settled deep into your mind until they started sounding familiar, almost believable. But I need you to stop for a moment and recognize something important. A wounded heart does not always speak truthfully about itself. Come sit quietly with me and let your thoughts slow down. Stop allowing pain to narrate your identity. I know certain experiences changed the way you see yourself. Some failures damaged your confidence. Some betrayals shook your sense of worth. Some seasons became so emotionally exhausting that survival replaced joy inside your spirit. But my child, the darkest moments of your life were never meant to become permanent definitions of who you are. You have been carrying words inside your mind that I never spoke over you. You called yourself broken beyond repair. You describe yourself as weak, ruined, unworthy, or too far gone. Yet I look at you and still see someone deeply valuable, deeply loved, and still capable of healing. Pain narrowed your vision until all you could focus on were scars. But scars are not the entirety of your story. They are evidence that you survived something difficult, not proof that your future is hopeless. Right now, stop repeating cruel narratives about yourself every time regret surfaces. Invite me into the places where self-hatred became familiar. Tell me honestly where your thoughts feel harsh, fearful, or emotionally trapped. Open your heart fully instead of silently agreeing with every negative thought that enters your mind. Not every voice inside you deserves authority over your future. Think about a mirror cracked by impact. The reflection becomes distorted, not because the person disappeared, but because the damage altered how they are being viewed. That is what emotional pain has done to your self-image. You keep seeing yourself through fractured glass. Yet my view of you has never become distorted by your failures or wounds. Do not build your identity around survival wounds. There is more to you than the pain you experienced. There is still tenderness inside your heart. There is still wisdom growing through your healing. There is still purpose waiting beyond this difficult season. I want you to stop speaking to yourself like someone permanently condemned to emotional darkness. Now come closer and let my truth become louder than the voice pain created inside you. Sit with me and allow gentleness to rebuild the way you see yourself. Your mistakes may have wounded your confidence, but they never erased your worth in my eyes. You are still my child, and I am still guiding you toward healing even while your heart learns how to believe that again. My child, the voice of pain has spoken long enough over too many hearts, and I am raising this message like a trumpet of truth to remind people who they truly are in my eyes. There are wounded souls listening right now who have almost surrendered to shame, and your support helps my healing word reach them before darkness convinces them to give up completely. I declared, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, and through your giving, that light continues spreading into broken places hungry for hope. Every super thanks, every membership, and every gift through the PayPal link in the video description becomes a seed planted into lives that desperately need restoration. This is more than support for a channel. This is participation in lifting chains off hearts burdened by regret and self-hatred. I see every act of generosity done with sincerity, and I promise that what is placed into my hands will not return empty. I will breathe favor over your household, peace over your mind, and strength over the areas where you once felt weary. Now rise in faith, my child. Give boldly today and help my truth become louder than the pain destroying so many lives. My child, I know there are days when you feel discouraged because healing still seems incomplete. You notice the moments when sadness returns unexpectedly. You notice the fears that still rise inside certain situations. You notice how memories sometimes reopen emotions you thought had already faded. Then you assume nothing is changing at all. But I need you to stop measuring your growth only by the moments where pain still appears. Healing is often quieter than you expected. Much of it happens gradually beneath the surface long before your emotions fully recognize it. Come sit with me for a moment and look at yourself with gentleness instead of constant criticism. You are not where you used to be, even if the journey still feels unfinished. There was a time when hopelessness almost swallowed your spirit completely. There were nights when you barely believed peace could ever return again. Yet here you are, still reaching toward healing, still searching for truth, still opening your heart little by little instead of shutting down entirely. That matters more than you realize. You keep overlooking the small victories because your focus remains trapped on what still hurts. But healing often reveals itself quietly. It appears in the way you now recognize unhealthy patterns faster than before. It appears in your willingness to face emotions instead of avoiding them completely. It appears in the moments where you choose honesty instead of emotional numbness. Growth does not always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it unfolds gently, like dawn slowly replacing darkness while the world barely notices the transition happening. Right now, stop speaking to yourself like someone who has made no progress. Invite me into the discouragement trying to settle over your heart. Tell me honestly where you feel tired of the process. Open your soul instead of silently carrying frustration about your unfinished healing. I understand how exhausting emotional recovery can feel, especially when you expected peace to arrive sooner. Think about someone recovering from a serious injury learning how to walk again. Each small step matters, even if they still stumble occasionally. No wise person would look at their progress and declare it meaningless simply because the healing process remains ongoing. Yet you keep doing that to yourself emotionally. You dismiss your growth because perfection has not arrived yet. Do not let impatience blind you to the restoration already happening inside your life. I am still working within you, even in moments where progress feels invisible. Roots grow quietly beneath the soil long before flowers appear above ground. In the same way, deeper strength, wisdom, and peace are forming inside you now, even if you cannot fully see them yet. Now breathe deeply and stop calling yourself hopeless. Come closer and trust the process instead of fighting against it constantly. You are healing, my child, even when the journey feels slower than you hoped. Stay near me and keep walking forward one honest step at a time. Message point 34. Stop carrying shame into every conversation with me, my child. I need you to notice how often shame follows you even into moments that are supposed to bring you peace. You come to me carrying hesitation in your spirit. You pray carefully, almost nervously, as though one wrong word might push me farther away. Sometimes you hold back your real feelings because you are afraid of being fully honest about how broken, confused, or exhausted you actually feel. Shame has made you feel like a guest in my presence instead of someone deeply loved and welcomed. Come closer now and stop standing at a distance emotionally. Sit with me honestly without rehearsing perfect words first. I already know what lives inside your heart. I know the fears you try to hide beneath calm behavior. I know the memories that still embarrass you. I know the regret that returns suddenly when your mind becomes quiet at night. Yet none of those things have ever made me withdraw from you. My child, shame keeps trying to convince you that your struggles make you unworthy of closeness with me. But that is not my voice speaking over your life. You learned from painful experiences that vulnerability sometimes led to rejection. Some people responded to your honesty with criticism instead of compassion. Others treated your failures like permanent labels. Over time, your heart became cautious. You stopped feeling safe being fully seen. Then eventually you brought that same fear into your relationship with me. But listen carefully now. I do not invite you into my presence so you can pretend to be flawless. I invite you because I already know you completely and still want closeness with you anyway. Right now, stop hiding behind polished prayers and emotional masks. Invite me into the places where shame still controls your thinking. Speak openly about what hurts. Tell me where you feel guilty, tired, or spiritually disconnected. Sit quietly with me instead of rushing away the moment uncomfortable emotions appear. Healing deepens when honesty replaces performance. Think about a child covered in mud after falling outside. A loving father does not refuse to hold the child until they become perfectly clean again. He moves toward them first because love always reaches before restoration is complete. That is how I see you, my child. Your wounds do not scare me away. Your unfinished healing does not make you unwelcome. Do not spend another season treating my presence like a place you must earn access to through perfection. My love has remained steady through every chapter of your life, including the ones you still struggle to forgive yourself for. Now breathe deeply and let your soul rest beside me without fear. Stop carrying shame into every conversation with me. Bring your real heart instead. That is the version of you I want closest to me. My child, I know there are moments when your life feels unfinished in painful ways. You look around and notice broken pieces, unanswered questions, delayed dreams, emotional scars, and chapters that did not unfold the way you expected. Sometimes you become discouraged because the story you imagined for yourself looks so different from the reality you are currently living. You wonder whether too much damage has already been done. You wonder whether beauty can still come from a life that has carried this much pain and disappointment. But I need you to stop looking at your life as though the hardest chapters are the final ones. Come sit with me quietly now and let your heart slow down. Stop assuming the story is over simply because this season feels heavy. You are still becoming. You are still growing. You are still being shaped through experiences that currently feel confusing and painful. A book is not judged by one difficult chapter in the middle. Yet you keep speaking over your life as though the hardest moments define the entire story permanently. You have walked through things that changed you deeply. Some losses still ache when you think about them. Some mistakes still make your heart heavy with regret. Certain disappointments reshape the way you see yourself and your future. I know all of that intimately because I was with you through every tear, every fearful thought, every sleepless night, and every silent battle nobody else fully understood. Yet even after all of it, I am still writing beauty into your life. Right now, stop calling yourself ruined because the journey became difficult. Invite me into the hopelessness trying to settle over your future. Tell me honestly where you fear joy may never return again. Open your heart instead of quietly surrendering to discouragement. I want you to see yourself through my eyes instead of through the lens of temporary pain. Think about an artist working on a painting halfway through the process. Certain sections may look messy, unfinished, or confusing before the full picture comes together. But the unfinished state does not mean the artist lost vision for the final masterpiece. In the same way, your current struggles are not proof that your life lost meaning. I still see the beauty forming beneath the unfinished places. Do not abandon hope because healing takes time. Do not bury your future because fear became loud. There are still moments ahead of you that will soften your heart again. There are still people you will love deeply, lessons you will carry wisely, and peaceful days you cannot fully imagine yet. I have not stopped working within your life, my child. Now come closer and trust me with the chapters you cannot yet understand. Stop deciding the ending while the story is still unfolding. Let me guide you forward instead of remaining emotionally trapped in yesterday's pain. Your life still carries purpose, beauty, healing, and meaning far beyond what you currently see. My child, I know there are moments when you quietly disqualify yourself from purpose because of your struggles. You look at your weaknesses, your emotional battles, your mistakes, and the areas where you still feel fragile, and then you assume someone stronger, wiser, or more disciplined would be more worthy of being used for something meaningful. Shame has convinced you that your imperfections make you less valuable. So you shrink yourself emotionally. You stop expecting your life to carry impact. You begin surviving instead of truly believing your existence still holds deep purpose. Come closer now and let me speak truth into those wounded thoughts. Stop measuring your worth only by your strongest moments. Sit quietly with me and allow your heart to rest from constant self-evaluation. I have never looked at human weakness the way the world does. People often celebrate polished appearances, confidence, achievement, and visible strength. But I see deeper than appearances. I see the heart that keeps trying even after disappointment. I see the soul that still longs for healing even while carrying scars. I see resilience forming through pain. You became afraid of your own weakness because certain failures embarrassed you deeply. You expected yourself to handle life better. You thought maturity meant never struggling emotionally again. Yet weakness itself is not your enemy, my child. Pretending you do not need help is far more dangerous. A cracked vessel can still carry water. A wounded hand can still comfort another hurting person. In the same way, your imperfections do not erase your ability to love, grow, encourage, or carry light into someone else's darkness. Right now, stop labeling yourself unusable because healing remains unfinished. Invite me into the insecurity that keeps telling you you are not enough. Speak honestly about where you feel inadequate. Tell me where comparison has damaged your confidence. Open your heart instead of silently carrying feelings of failure everywhere you go. I already know your fragile places, and still I continue calling you forward. Think about how many people hide behind masks of strength while their souls quietly crumble underneath. You know pain differently now. You understand loneliness, fear, regret, and emotional exhaustion in ways you once did not. That understanding has created compassion inside you that polished perfection never could have produced. Your wounds can become places where empathy grows instead of shame. Do not spend your life waiting to become flawless before believing you matter. There are people you will help simply because you understand what it feels like to survive difficult seasons. There are conversations ahead where your honesty will bring healing to someone else quietly drowning inside themselves. Now stop standing against yourself constantly. Sit beside me and let me rebuild your confidence through truth instead of performance. Your weakness did not frighten me, my child. I can still work powerfully through a heart willing to remain honest, humble, and open to healing. My child, stop believing your weakness disqualifies you from helping advance my work, because I have always used willing hearts more powerfully than perfect ones. There are exhausted souls listening to these messages who feel unusable, forgotten, and ashamed. Yet through this ministry I am reminding them that broken vessels can still carry living water. When you support through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the video description, you become part of the hands I use to pour hope back into weary hearts. I said my strength is made perfect in weakness, and I am still proving the truth through ordinary people who choose obedience over fear. Do not ignore this stirring inside you, because this is not merely generosity. It is a divine assignment connected to eternal impact. Your seed helps keep this fire burning so others trapped in darkness can encounter my love and begin healing again. And as you give, I will multiply peace, provision, and unexpected favor back into your own life, because I honor those who help carry my word faithfully. So move now, my child, sow into this mission and help me reach the hurting hearts still waiting for light. My child, your heart has spent too much time living in survival mode. Even during peaceful moments, part of you remains emotionally tense, waiting for something painful to happen again. You struggle to relax fully because disappointment has visited you unexpectedly before. So now your mind constantly scans for danger. You overanalyze conversations. You prepare yourself emotionally for rejection before anyone even leaves. You expect problems before situations have the chance to unfold naturally. Fear has slowly trained your nervous system to remain alert all the time, and it is exhausting your spirit more than you realize. Come sit quietly with me now, and allow your breathing to slow. Stop trying to predict every possible outcome for a moment. Rest your thoughts beside me instead of carrying them endlessly in circles through your mind. I know fear feels protective to you. After certain experiences, staying emotionally guarded seems safer than remaining open and vulnerable. But constant fear cannot create lasting peace. It only creates temporary control while quietly draining joy from your life. You became this way because pain taught you to expect instability. Some moments shattered your trust unexpectedly. Some losses arrived before you felt prepared. Certain mistakes left emotional scars deep enough that now even good things sometimes make you anxious because you fear losing them too. My child, I understand why fear became familiar. But I do not want fear shaping every decision, relationship, and expectation inside your future. Right now, stop feeding every anxious thought as though it speaks truth. Invite me into the panic hiding underneath your overthinking. Tell me honestly where you feel unsafe emotionally. Open your heart instead of pretending everything feels calm while your mind quietly races. I already know the tension living inside your chest. I see how exhausting it has become carrying invisible fear through ordinary days. Think about someone gripping a steering wheel so tightly during a storm, that eventually their hands ache long after the danger passes. That is what fear has been doing to your soul. Even when moments of peace arrive, your spirit struggles to release tension because it no longer remembers how to rest fully. Do not let survival mode become your permanent way of living. You were created for more than constant emotional defense. There is peace available to you beyond fear, but you must stop treating anxiety like wisdom. Caution can protect you wisely, but fear isolates, controls, and suffocates when left unchecked too long. Now breathe deeply and release some of that tension into my hands. Sit beside me instead of running endlessly through worst-case scenarios in your mind. Let me teach your heart how to feel safe again little by little. You do not need to spend the rest of your life bracing for disaster, my child. Stay close to me and allow peace to become stronger than fear inside your soul. My child, I know there are moments when healing feels incredibly lonely to you. You sit with thoughts you cannot fully explain to anyone. You carry emotional weight that words often fail to describe properly. Sometimes you even smile around people while quietly feeling disconnected inside, wondering whether anyone truly understands how tired your heart has become. That loneliness has affected you deeply because pain often becomes heavier when carried in silence for too long. Come closer and sit with me for a moment. Stop trying to survive this season entirely through your own strength. Breathe slowly and allow yourself to rest emotionally instead of remaining tense all the time. I never intended for you to walk through healing isolated from comfort, guidance, and support. Yet you keep treating your struggles like private battles that must be endured silently before you are allowed to feel peace again. You became this way because life taught you to protect your wounds carefully. Some people dismissed your pain when you tried opening up honestly. Others gave advice without understanding your heart. Certain experiences left you feeling emotionally unsafe, so eventually you learned how to carry everything internally. My child, hidden pain does not become lighter simply because nobody else sees it. Isolation often deepens suffering while convincing you that silence is strength. Right now, stop pretending you are emotionally fine when your soul is asking for rest and connection. Invite me into the loneliness you keep burying beneath routines and distractions. Tell me where your heart feels unseen. Speak honestly about the exhaustion you hide from others. Open your spirit instead of forcing yourself to appear strong every moment of every day. I already know the tears you hold back. I already understand the ache behind your silence. Think about a person trying to lift a heavy object completely alone while help stands nearby offering support. The weight becomes unbearable not because the burden was impossible, but because pride, fear, or shame prevented them from accepting help. That is what emotional isolation has been doing inside you. You keep carrying things alone that were never meant to remain entirely on your shoulders. Do not mistake emotional independence for healing. Healing often grows through honesty, connection, prayer, rest, and safe places where the heart no longer has to hide constantly. I want you to stop resisting support simply because past experiences disappointed you. There are still people capable of compassion. There are still moments of comfort ahead that will soften your heart again. Now sit beside me and release some of this weight into my hands. Stop exhausting yourself trying to appear unshaken while quietly struggling underneath. Let my presence hold the parts of you that feel tired, uncertain, and emotionally worn down. You do not need to heal alone, my child. Stay close to me and allow yourself to receive comfort instead of only surviving pain silently. My child, I know there are certain memories you wish you could erase completely. Some moments still follow you emotionally no matter how much time has passed. You replay decisions, conversations, failures, and painful outcomes in your mind until those memories start feeling larger than your entire life. Then slowly, without realizing it, You begin defying your future by your worst day instead of by the growth still unfolding inside you. That is one of the cruelest things shame does to the human heart. It convinces you that one painful chapter deserves permanent control over the way you see yourself. Come sit quietly with me now and let your soul breathe again. Stop speaking over your future as though failure wrote the final sentence of your story. I know your mistakes mattered. I know certain consequences hurt deeply. I know some seasons left emotional scars that still ache unexpectedly. But my child, one broken moment does not have authority to decide everything your life can still become. You keep returning emotionally to places I have already been trying to lead you beyond. Every time hope starts rising again, shame drags old memories back into your thoughts and whispers, "Do not forget who you were." But listen carefully now. Growth means you are not the exact same person you once were. Pain changed you. Reflection changed you. Healing changed you. The fact that you carry regret already proves your heart is not hardened the way shame wants you to believe. Right now, stop introducing yourself to your future through the lens of your worst mistakes. Invite me into the fear that tells you nothing beautiful can happen after failure. Tell me honestly where you still feel trapped emotionally in old chapters. Open your heart fully instead of silently surrendering to hopelessness. I want you to see yourself through truth instead of through the distorted voice of shame. Think about a storm destroying part of a landscape. Trees fall, branches break, the ground becomes muddy and damaged. Yet seasons still change afterward. New growth eventually begins appearing in places that once looked devastated. In the same way, your life still carries the possibility of restoration even after painful seasons. Damage does not mean destiny disappear. Do not let your lowest moments become permanent identity markers over your life. You are more than one bad decision. You are more than one painful chapter. You are still growing, still healing, still learning how to walk forward with wisdom you did not have before. There is still beauty waiting ahead of you that shame cannot cancel. Now breathe deeply and release the version of yourself permanently trapped in regret. Sit beside me and allow hope to return again little by little. Your future is still being written, my child, and I refuse to define your entire story by your worst day. My child, I know how deeply this season has affected you. There were moments when you truly believed everything had fallen apart beyond recovery. You looked at your mistakes, your regrets, your emotional exhaustion, and the consequences surrounding your life, and somewhere inside you began quietly mourning your own future. You stopped expecting peace. You stopped imagining joy. Part of you became convinced that the best parts of your story had already passed and that now all that remained was survival, guilt, and disappointment. But I need you to hear me clearly now. Your life is not over because you made a mistake. Come closer and let these words settle into the deepest places of your heart. Stop standing in the ruins of yesterday as though nothing beautiful could ever grow there again. Sit quietly with me and breathe slowly. I know certain nights felt unbearable. I know there were moments when shame wrapped itself around your thoughts so tightly that even hope felt distant. I saw the tears you hid. I heard the conversations you carried silently inside your mind. I stayed near you through every moment where you felt too broken to even understand yourself fully. You keep looking at your life through the lens of failure, but I am looking at you through the lens of restoration. I still see purpose inside you. I still see goodness alive within your heart. I still see strength growing quietly through the pain you survived. Your mistakes wounded you, yes, but they did not erase your identity. They did not remove your value. They did not cancel my love for you. My child, you are still deeply wanted, deeply guided, and deeply capable of healing. Right now, stop speaking finality over a chapter that is still unfolded. Invite me into the hopelessness that keeps whispering your future has ended. Tell me honestly where fear still controls your thinking. Open your heart completely instead of carrying silent despair through each day. I want you to stop punishing yourself for being human. Growth often begins in the places where pride finally breaks and honesty begins. Think about the sunrise after the darkest part of the night. The sky does not change instantly all at once. Light returns gradually, quietly pushing back darkness little by little until suddenly the world becomes visible again. That is how healing often works inside the soul. Peace returns slowly. Hope rises gently. Strength rebuilds one honest step at a time. Now take my hand and stop remaining emotionally trapped in yesterday. Walk forward with me instead of staring endlessly at your worst moments. Let me rebuild your confidence. Let me restore your peace. Let me remind you who you are beyond your failures. There are still beautiful days waiting ahead of you. There are still prayers that will be answered, relationships that will bring warmth, and moments that will make your heart breathe freely again. Your story is not finished, my child. I am still here. I am still leading you. And I am still capable of bringing beauty out of places you once believed were ruined forever. My child, just as I am telling you that your story is not over after your mistakes, I am sending this message to countless others standing in the ruins of shame, believing their lives can never recover. Your support becomes part of the miracle that reaches them before despair fully hardens their hearts. Every super thanks, every membership, and every gift through the PayPal link in the video description helps spread this healing word like fire across dry land, awakening hope where hopelessness once ruled. I declared, I will restore the years the locust has eaten, and I am still fulfilling that promise through messages that pull my children out of guilt and back into purpose. This is not a small moment, my child. This is a divine opportunity to help rebuild lives the enemy tried to destroy. As you sow into this mission, I will pour fresh strength upon your journey, guard what concerns you, and open doors that fear once told you were permanently closed. The seeds you release today will become rivers of encouragement flowing into homes, hearts, and generations you may never fully see. So obey the stirring in your spirit right now. Give, support this mission, and help carry my restoring light to those who believe their story has already ended. Before you leave this moment, I want you to do something bold. Do not keep carrying silent shame like it still owns your future. If this message reached the deepest part of your heart, then go down into the comments and declare this with faith. My mistake did not destroy my purpose. God is still restoring me. Speak those words even if your voice trembles while writing them. Let this be the moment you stop agreeing with guilt and start agreeing with healing. And as you type it, believe with all your heart that I am still leading you into a future your pain could never cancel. Amen.